I saw President Trump, a dear friend, escape death by mere inches, and my thoughts immediately turned to the book of Isaiah that says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Well, let me tell you the weapons that they used. First, they tried to ruin his reputation, and he's more popular now than ever. And then they tried to bankrupt him, and he's got more money now than he had before. And then they tried to put him in prison, and he's freer and has made other people free with him. And then last weekend they tried to kill him, and there he is over there alive and well.
Why is it that black men are the only ones that have to give an explanation for who they're voting for? I'm seeing it over and over and over again. It seems as if black men who decide to vote for former President Trump have to give an explanation, as if we are Trump apologists or something. Why is it that black men in particular are the only ethnic group that can't think for themselves? Why is it because of the simple fact that black men want to vote based upon various reasons that you have the black gatekeepers, the black bougie elite, the church plants, always asking black men to give a reason for why you're voting for Donald Trump? For example, you have these liberal media pundits like Joy Reid and Van Jones.
That the greatest purveyor and promoter of political violence, really, since anyone can remember, since George Wallace, I think, that we just haven't experienced that kind of open, sort of citing or sort of incitement of violence or sort of luxuriating in the idea of violence. It's just not something we're used to anymore in American politics. And then we had to get used to that being a thing. And people are concerned and expressing concern that we won't be the guardians of memory. And that we will allow Donald Trump, as he is, bathed in the glory and grandeur of his party, to rewrite himself as both a hero and a victim, that people who are the most vulnerable to not just the things he's done, but the things he's promising to do, and that will then happen without a guardian saying, wait, stop, and then the media will acquiesce to this rewrite.
It's that was kind of cringy to me. We got half an hour into 8 o'clock. We had 4 African-American men. There's clearly an agenda here, and let me just say, I'm glad that the Republicans are trying to get black men. I think both parties should compete vigorously. There's an opening to get black men because of the double whammy with black men, feeling the economic pain seriously, and also feeling some social dislocation or when it comes to gender and feminism and what's going on. There's an opening there, but this is not it. I'm going to tell you right now, all 4 of them sounded like black people who talk about black people, but don't talk to black people.
They simply attacked black men who were speaking at the Republican National Convention, saying that they were speaking as if they were talking about black people and not talking to black people. When was the last time the Democratic Party actually spoke to black men? When was the last time the Democratic Party actually did something that helped to elevate the black family? When was the last time the Democratic Party actually did something to help to elevate the black community? I'll wait, because there has not been anything done in the last 60 years. See, what has happened is that the black community has exchanged their faith in God for faith in big government, faith in government. And the conduit for that is the Democratic Party. So therefore, when the Democratic Party doesn't meet their needs, they're disappointed. You should never, ever, ever put your trust in a man, and especially in a secular party. That party uses you for that benefit. That party uses you to advance their power. That party uses you to advance their goals. They don't care about you. If they really cared about you, then they wouldn't allow your communities to be in disrepair year after year after year. And I'm talking about all three levels: on the national level, on the state level, and on the local level, especially on the local level, because this is where they elect those black bougie elite folks. They put them in office and they expect them to keep black people in their place. That's what exactly they do. And the simple fact that you have some black men thinking for themselves, saying enough is enough, taking the lead, taking it upon themselves to say, no, I will do something different this time. The black men have to explain themselves. These house Negroes need to grow up. These gatekeepers need to grow up. And here's a prime example of one.
So for this video, I just have a basic question for all these black male Trump supporters. Why in the world do you support Donald Trump? I just want to understand. So make it plain so we all can understand why you support Donald Trump. This is a man that we're talking about that opposes affirmative action, opposes voting rights, opposes police reform, and so many other areas. This is a man who sympathizes and, patronizes and panders to white supremacists. So how in the world do you as a black man find yourself supporting Donald Trump? And I want a real answer. I want a comprehensive answer. So if you have what it takes, if you have your information together, I want to hear your response. Feel free to stitch this video, and perhaps we could do a live debate on this subject.
First of all, whoever someone decides to vote for is none of your business. Secondly, why are you being inquisitive as to the reasoning black men are voting for Donald Trump? You don't want to know. Like Jesus said, they have ears, but they choose not to hear. Dude, you don't want to hear the reasoning behind it. You just want to get into a debate and get into an argument. You don't. All this stuff you mentioned about Donald Trump was just conjecture. The fact that he sympathized with white supremacists and he is against black people. You are being fed a bunch of lies by the liberal media, by the Marxists, communists, and the socialists, but you're buying into it. See, these are the black gatekeepers. See, this is why it's that's why you should applaud every black man that you see that is standing 10 toes down, saying they're going to think for themselves and vote for Donald Trump. You should really give that man a round of applause, because that man has had to go through so many challenges just to think for himself. I guess he must have gotten the response that he wanted, because he made a part 2.
I did a video, and in that video I asked black male Trump supporters, why do you support Donald Trump? And for the most part, I didn't receive any substantive responses to that question. And in fact, many of the people that responded to the question were not even black men. They were white men. And first, I just want to say this to these white men that responded to my video. Why are you even on my page? The question had nothing to do with you. You are not the intended audience. The question was directed towards black men, not you. So why are you here? The other point is this, like many of these black men that support Trump didn't provide any substantive responses. And to me, that makes it clear that a lot of these guys cannot even articulate why they support Donald Trump. And the few that had something to say about why they support Donald Trump, most of it was all about personal profits, like in their business and stuff like that. A lot of these people have put profits over people. They don't care anything about their people. They have abandoned their people in search of dollars. They have sold their souls for a few coins. And it's just sad. It's despicable. It's a disgrace.
That is despicable. The fact that you're going to say that black men who choose to vote for, that's the reason you choose to vote for somebody, man. They represent you. We live in a constitutional republic. We live in a representative democracy. The candidates, the president, the people in elected office represent us. They're supposed to do what we want them to do, the will of the people. But I can tell you don't have that knowledge. You don't know how our government is run. And to answer your question, look, you probably got some real good responses, but it didn't benefit you on your TikTok video. So you had to say that these black men were selling out like they're Judas or something, like they're selling out the black community. So let me ask you a question. First of all, the reason why a person like me will support Donald Trump is because I've seen what the Democratic Party has done to the black community for the last 60 years. I've seen what the Democratic Party has done to the black family for the last 60 years. I've seen what the Democratic Party has done to the womb in the black community for the last 60 years, partner. I've seen what the Democratic Party has done to black people ever since its inception. Let me give you two things. Slavery and Jim Crow, they were instituted by Democrats. Oh, the KKK, you want to talk about that too? So let me ask you a question, sir. Why are you supporting the Democratic Party? What has Joe Biden done for black people? Honestly, I want to know the honest question. Don't give me this talking point stuff about infrastructure and all that stuff. Tell me one tangible benefit that Joe Biden has done for the black community since he's been in power. I'm not talking about in the last 4 years. I'm talking about over the last 50 years. The crime bill? Yeah, that's something. Talking about he didn't want his children around black people? Yeah, that's something. Being against busing? Yeah, that's something. Anything else you want to name there, sir? Because people choose to vote for somebody that you don't agree with doesn't make them a sellout. You are the sellout because what you're doing the bidding of your white liberal puppet masters. That's what you're doing, sir. You're tap dancing and doing the bidding for them. Lord have mercy. And I bet you call yourself a Christian. I bet you do. I bet you go to one of those black liberation theology churches. Now, I could be wrong, but based upon your behavior, I kind of think that is spot on. Until the black community by and large frees itself from the shackles that have been placed on it mentally by the Democratic Party and by the liberal ideology, there will never, ever be any human flourishing in the black community, because you have people like that guy and other people that want to constantly keep black people in their place. That's why I call them house Negroes, because what they're doing the bidding of their white liberal puppet masters to make sure black people do not get out of line, to make sure black people don't think for themselves and don't free themselves. My Bible says we'll stand fast in the liberty whereas Christ has made us free. So we are free thinkers because we are free. Okay? We're free in our minds. We're free to decide who we want to vote for. And that does not make us sellouts. What you want to do is make us perpetual victims, perpetual servants of the state. And I reject that because we're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.